Hello everyone, this is Yvonne from Yvonne Ceramics. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to use Mishima technique to decorate your vessel on greenware. So in this project, I drew out the flower design onto my vase using pencil and then underglaze to paint it, and then carving it and then filling the lines with black underglaze. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more videos each week. Let's take a look at this design. So I drew this design on my sketchbook. Initially I was gonna do it on a bowl, but then I made a bunch of extruded heart-shaped vase yesterday, so I decided to demonstrate the technique on my vase. But it's kind of very similar to a bowl, so I'm gonna divide the vase into sections and then put different design on the sections. And so this is basically kind of like my sunflower design. I'm gonna have one layer with the flower and then the leaves and then some pattern on the top and bottom. So after I finish my design, I'm gonna use my pencil to lightly draw in some sketch of my design onto my vase. So now I have my extruded vase on my turntable and I have my pencil. I'm going to start off in the middle, drawing my line where the middle section will be, and I'm just drawing it lightly so I don't accidentally carve a line for the middle. So that's the midline, and then the next line I am going to draw on the bottom, and I want to create some kind of border on the bottom, so I'm leaving a little bit of room on the bottom as well. So now next I'm going to do the top line. I need to be careful because this vase is a little bit curved. So I am drawing my top line right now. So this is just for guiding. These lines are for guiding for when I am drawing the flowers and leaves design onto the vase. So if you're really good at drawing freehand, you don't need these guidelines. Then in the midsection, I'm going to start off by drawing the inside of the sunflower. It is going to be a half circle. So I'm trying my best to draw my circle. I'm not the best at freehand drawing, but I'll try my best here. After drawing the circle, I'm going to start with the flower petals. So this is just one side of the vase. I want the other side of the vase to have mirrored image of this side. So I'm keeping the design very clean and simple. So that's the last petal. I think it looks pretty good. Now moving on to the other side, I'm going to start with the half circle, like how I started, and then with the flower petals. Because this is a sunflower design, I'm thinking for when I am painting this with underglaze, it's going to be really bright and cherry, so I'm thinking yellow and orange for the sunflowers. So I think both design looks pretty similar. The next section will be the stem and the leaves. So I drew the stem first and then the leaves. Like I said, I'm keeping it very simple, but at the same time I want to make sure I'm covering a lot of areas. I don't want to have a lot of blank spaces. Okay, so that's the leaves and stem, and so I'm going to do the same thing on this side as well. So this is just a very simple design. If you're good at drawing, of course you can challenge yourself and make a more challenging design. And I'm sure if you practice some more, you'll come up with even more challenging design. And on the bottom, I think I'm going to add some hearts to it because it's looking quite blank on these spaces. So I'm going to just freehand some hearts on here. After drawing my outlines, the next step is to paint underglaze, and the underglaze I'm using is called Spectrum Dandelion, which is basically a yellow underglaze, and I'm going to paint it yellow on the inside of the flower first. This is just the first coat. After it dries, then I'm going to paint on the second and then the third coat. I need to paint 2 to 3 coats for underglaze to get really bright solid color for the flower. And as for the petals, I'm thinking of doing orange underglaze. So first I'm going to do the yellow for both of these flowers. I want to quickly show you the design after I finish painting the underglaze. Next step is to put on the wax resist. So I got this from the ceramic store. I'm going to paint wax all over this and then let this dry. So I have to really stir to the bottom for the wax so that it's well mixed, and I'm using a big fan brush for brushing on the wax. And I'm lining newspaper on the bottom because the wax is quite liquidy and it can drop onto the table, and I don't want to have a messy table. It will be hard to clean up. So I'm just brushing on the wax and turning it. So wax will burn off in bisque firing, so I'm not concerned, and same for the pencil mark. The reason why I'm brushing this wax on is so that I can carve and then do the outline of the drawing later. So the difference between wax resist and the wax you get from candle is just so that it's stable at room temperature, so it's liquidy. I don't have to heat this up. And I can just open the jar and brush it on. So you can see that it is very glossy, means it's liquid right now, and I need to wait for it to dry. I think I brush on everywhere, so I need to make sure it's brushed on everywhere. That's important for my design that I will do next. Okay, and I'm gonna let this dry first. So I'll know it's dry when I touch it and it's not sticking to my hand and it's not glossy. So the wax is dry. You can see that it's not glossy anymore and I can touch it with no issue. So next I want to carve lines around the petals of the flower, the leaves and stuff. So I've got a couple of tools here that I want to show you. So this one here is this corner. It's really nice for cutting bigger lines, and same as this one. This one would be for really big lines. And then this one here, it's kind of like a needle tool. It's really great for putting detail lines on. So for the petals here, I'm going to use, let's try with this one first. So I don't have to carve in one stroke, I can just carve, and as long as I can carve the line. So this one's okay. I'm gonna try with this one now. Sure, this one will be too thick. Maybe this one. Now this one is nice. So as you can see, it creates a really clean line here. So I'm gonna go ahead and carve around all the petals. So I finished my carving and I want to show you my lines. So it's not perfectly smooth, but that's okay. I think it looks really good. There are some more detailed thinner lines on the petals and on the leaves and on the hearts. So after carving, sometimes they're crumbs, so make sure you brush them off. Then next I have the black underglaze here, a little bit watered down because I waxed the surface, and now I am going to just brush the black underglaze on here, and it should just stay where I carved it. I'm just brushing it on, and then I'm using a sponge to wipe that off. And just brush this, okay, and then let me get a little sponge here, and I'm just gonna clean that off. Very good, see? So I need to get into more of the grooves here. But so far it's very nice to create a nice crisp black outline for my drawing. So I'm gonna keep going and just brush the black underglaze all over the vessel. I want to show you guys after I've cleaned up the black underglaze. This is what one side looks like. I love the black outline that filled in where I carved. It looks really clean, really accentuate the flowers and the different patterns. This is the other side. So some of the lines were not carved deep enough, so I have to use a small paintbrush to fill in those areas, but otherwise it filled in most of the carved lines. I have to use a smaller sponge to clean up some of the smaller areas. But otherwise it's very fun, beautiful design. So I suggest you try it if you want to try something like this to add a black outline. So that's it for today's tutorial. Thank you everyone for watching. See you guys next time. Bye bye.